And there we go. We are now live. So, welcome to whoever partakes in this in the chat. If you're watching this, share it out. Let people know what's going on. Um, so, this is kind of like a round two. There was, I guess, miscommunication or whatever last time, but that's okay because we are here now. And I have these lovely gentlemen here. So, we got Paul Chatto and the script doctor. And so, three Canadians sitting down talking comedy. It's not something people have done before, but here we are. And
Especially Canadians. Canadians
no,
don't talk
we
about comedy.
no,
No, it
we
used to be a national pastime in the 20th century, but once the clock went from 1999 to 2000, we're like, nope, we did our part. We're done.
That's it.
absolutely. Absolutely. And so the overall goal here today is to kind of talk about comedy in practice and sorry, in theory and in practice. And so looking at what's going on in the background and then also actually make this thing. So the whole for those of you who don't know, the background behind this conversation is Pro, WDW Pro. He actually aired one of the commercials of our Depends and Indiana Jones, just a cut version of it. And these guys started mocking it for the lack of jokes that it had. And so you know how that goes. Now they have to own it and make the next one better. So the latest one was Dove Soap came out with their gamer commercial and decided to insult every female gamer, saying that they need soap. And yeah, like that's a unique premise. And so now, just as we begin here, big fan of Red Green and Rick Green. I loved Red Green.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sure.
But anyway, yeah,
Rick was part of the Frantics.
right. I'm like, I know that name. I'm like, where do I know that name
And
from?
Steve Smith and his wife had a Canadian variety show back in the day.
It's true too. And yeah, so that threw me off there because I'm like thinking of like keep your stick
Sorry.
on the ice and all the red green jokes that
Oh yeah.
yeah.
If the women don't find you handy, or handsome, they can at least find you handy.
And I quote that all the time. And yeah, so anyway, so we're looking at breaking down the Dove soap commercial and then creating that into a parody. And if it evolves into something completely different, as these things can and tend to do, I'm fine with that. We just have our own limitations. And so just to begin, you guys can rock, paper, scissors to see who goes first. On what is your general philosophy when talking comedy or approaching comedy? So maybe like a quick 2 to 3 minute kind of idea. You don't have to go forever.
No. So some of it is, I mean, you think of it for the moment. Things pop up as people talk. We are live stand-ups essentially. Script and I mean, we've worked with each other, and I know from experience that something comes up, and then you're spritzing is the word, and you come up with funny stuff. So that does not require preparation. We're just naturally wired for being strange. One of the jokes I came up with the other night was I told my wife a joke and she laughed at it, and I made the mistake of thinking she wanted to hear more.
Yeah.
So, but that actually happened in real time, and my wife actually laughed at that joke. And so the thing is, it's the idea that you turn it on and off that's the thing that's wrong.
Mhm.
And in preparing for this is I didn't prepare for this at all. So one component is just the experience that I've had. It is what it is. I mean, I've been doing this for a long time. I've been doing comedy since high school, written comedy back in the day when there was the National Lampoon magazines. I wanted to be a National Lampoon writer and cartoonist. None of this stuff happens in a vacuum. There's a lot less comedy now, structured and comedy now. I mean, you've got lots of memes that we laugh at, and there's some funny stuff. But National Lampoon's high school yearbook is a seminal printed document that was just brilliantly done, and you appreciated the artistry and the craft that went into it. So I believe that I came from an era of craft. I don't know if that craft necessarily exists anymore. So, and then I did 20 years worth of sketch comedy and then 15 years of that with the Frantics comedy, so we played to tens of thousands of people. So that's my background. I'm fairly confident I know what makes people laugh. But that doesn't mean it will make people laugh, because in the end, it's the audience that's the arbiter. So you take a wild stab at what you think people will laugh at because you yourself laughed at it, or the people in the room laughed at it, and then you present that to the audience, and the audience is the final judge of that. So I come here with, I think, a legitimate long history of making people laugh in my own way. So that's my style, my interests, my politics.
Script.
There you go.
I come from a very similar area. When I was always interested in performing, but I had way more fun writing. And ever since my parents reluctantly allowed me to go on stage at the age of 8, I would always be trying to make jokes and make people laugh. I once, as a 9-year-old in a play, modeled curvatures of a woman that I saw naked in the play as a joke, just to try and get that extra laugh, to communicate that to the audience that I knew what I was seeing, because it was part of an Anne of Green Gables play, which nobody was expecting. And even the teacher and the director involved was like, that was a random act of brilliance. And then that's kind of when I realized that a little bit of the comedy comes from the surprise of connecting multiple ideas that otherwise people wouldn't normally observe. That was
the first and only performance of Anne of Green Gables with full frontal nudity. I should add.
That is correct. I think it was called The Hired Girls, was who I saw swimming in their birthday suits.
Yeah, talk about red hair.
Mm-hmm. It was a burning sensation of
you just don't know where those pigtails came from.
No, and that is how pigtails also got the alternate nickname of handlebars for ingenious young men.
Oh,
but that's basically what I did. I had the privilege of going to college, where I got to meet and work with some of the greatest comedians of the 20th century. I got to meet and work with Joan Rivers. I got to meet with a number of alumni from Second City. I ended up getting random little like unpaid internships and jobs with people like Bruce Valanche and Jackie Mason, and just studied under them to learn their approach and their methods. And then recently, one of my office shelves broke, and in putting it together, I actually found a college diploma I thought I had lost many years ago in a move. So now I can actually honestly re-say I have two degrees in the subject of story and writing.
Oh yeah, that's going to do you a lot of good.
Oh yeah, I mean it's the most worthless piece of paper for the rest of the world, but so cool when you talk to other people in academia. So it's got a lot of value to it, and also I'm still feeling it to this day because it fell on my ankle, and my ankle's still sore. So at least I'm getting some physical reminders of my education, in addition to the mental strain
which is why they say comedy is painful.
Yes, it is. Comedy is painful. Comedy explores truth, and at the same time, it also explores our desires and fantasies. So yeah, and that's kind of what I do with my approach. Like Paul says, after so many, it starts off reflexively, and then it's by random chance that you nail a joke, and then as you keep on practicing it, like you work any muscle, sometimes you have a better chance of nailing those jokes more often as you keep doing them, because you kind of fall into the zeitgeist of your audience. But at the end of the day, it is your audience that is the ultimate decider, and that is an axiom of any entertainment. When it comes to film, television, sketch comedy, what have you, everybody's doing something that they like, that they think is going to be great, that they want to do. And in the back of our minds, we are just hoping that the audience is in the same mindset that we are when we're putting it on.
But the new mindset is it's got to be activist oriented, or it's not funny.
Yeah.
Now one thing polluted. So one thing I would add to what Script Doctor said is, and I've mentioned this to other people who have come to me with regards to any creative endeavor, and I've told them, if you don't doodle, you're never going to be a cartoonist.
Mm.
If you don't scribble, you're never going to be a writer. And if you don't constantly write jokes, you're never going to be a comedian.
Mm.
I've never stopped writing jokes in tiny notebooks, and now on my Mac, on my phone, that's just nonstop. I've never stopped, even when I was out of the business for a good, I don't know, I left the business in 1991, but and so, you can't just start it. You can't, the scribblers out there, the people who draw cartoons in the margins of their textbooks. They're the ones who have the best chance of being an artist.
No, that's fair. And then, so for me, my issue is I think things are funny when no one else laughs. And so, as an example, I was at a wedding, and the groom's sister, she was wheelchair bound, and the reception is now at a golf course, and the stage is slightly on a hill, tilted back, and so they roll her up, and she's starting to give her speech. And then no one put the brakes on the
brake on.
wheelchair.
Yeah, I can see where this is going.
He just rolls back and just tilts up, feet are up in the air. My initial reaction was the bah! And I'm the only person that laughed in the tent. And my wife was very, very embarrassed and mad at me. We stopped being friends with those people. Probably connected.
So that is a great premise, because here's the thing about truth and comedy, and this is the thing that Saturday Night Live gets wrong a lot, which is that you have that's a brilliant sketch to have. You have a person in a wheelchair who's giving a speech, and she's on an incline. The thing is that she has to slowly be drifting away, and she has to try and deny the acknowledgement that she's drifting away. And her denial of that, trying to save face and maintain it, is where the comedy comes from, because you have basically man versus nature at this point. And we as an audience collectively know that she's eventually going to fall off that stage, and she knows she's eventually going to fall off that stage, but she does not want to admit that. And that is where you have the funny, where she realizes she's getting towards the end, and she's just desperately trying to finish that speech before she falls off.
And the thing is, the audience watching a piece like that would laugh. And I would say maybe the funny thing is she gets to the very edge of the stage, and it's like 20 feet below, but she then just grabs onto the mic's cord, and that stops her at the last minute, and she pulls herself back slowly
without
the
missing a beat of her speech.
Correct. And they are cheering her now.
And at the very end, the cord snaps and she just goes.
No, I would. Yeah. Okay, we're brainstorming, and no negation is allowed. But I would say that I think if then she finishes the speech, she'd get a standing ovation. I think even in the audience, people would laugh. Now, that premise you're just referred to is very similar to the Chuckles the Clown episode of Mary Tyler Moore, where for the entire episode, Chuckles the Clown he got sat on by an elephant because he was dressed as a peanut. In a
classic.
And the thing was, all through the whole show, everyone was making Chuckles the Clown gags, and Mary Tyler Moore was telling everyone to shut up. That was not respectful. But at the actual funeral, as they were giving the eulogy, she just started laughing, and everyone else was kind of not happy about her laughing, and she couldn't stop laughing. And it's one of the funniest episodes of all time. So this reminds me of the Chuckles the Clown episode. Anyway, so there you got a sample of brainstorming, and how you might complete that. So you started with the premise, but you had no ending.
Oh, well, my ending was I laughed really hard.
Yeah,
no one
right. Yeah, but you were in. So you were inside the moment. Yeah, you were part of it, and we're just turning it into a piece.
Absolutely. And so no, and I think that's great. Like,
I think that's
I'd want to take it next step further and be like, well, everyone else is giving her the standing ovation. Now she's offended because now everyone's standing and she can't.
Well, I mean, that could be funny, but that's also not often the mentality of a person who is bound to the wheelchair. They're well aware of that, unless it's
Yes.
something where maybe they broke their ankle or both their legs, and that's why they're on the wheelchair and they want to stand up and they can't. Other parts too, you could always explore is maybe towards the end while she's pulling herself up, she pulls herself a little too hard and she goes forward and the wheelchair goes back. So now she's just she's dragging her body and her knees and shoes are being scuffed on the floor. She's going up. Like there's various extremes that you can play around with, but you have to be kind of careful because some of them might go to the darker area and then not be as funny, and some just might not land at all.
So then what script is referencing is how have you set up the person in the wheelchair? Are they a good person or a bad person? So are we cheering their
or are you doing
yeah, so either they're the best person in town or the woman's a bitch, like not Local Hero, the one with the winning the lottery, the Irish movie about winning the lottery where the woman wants to snitch on everybody and she goes to the phone booth and the priest actually knocks the phone booth into the sea.
Oh gosh,
what's that?
I feel like
not Saving Ned. What's it called? Anyway, it'll come to us. So that's a hilarious moment where you're actually cheering for her demise. The woman in an electric scooter, as she's trying to snitch on the town for claiming the lottery ticket. Yeah, so there's just so many aspects that you sit down in the writer's room and you just throw around the ideas for, how you're going to do this. Do you make her mean? Do you make her good? Do you make her anonymous? Again, there's just so many different ways.
And what I understand,
is she happy? Is she jealous of the situation? Like those types of things. Is she a good person who happens to be jealous and wishes that she were there? And then that kind of makes you wonder: is how good of she actually is? Is she a great person who's so happy to be here and she just wants to make this the most special day ever for her relative and whatnot? And then there's the others, like, do they want to make it about themselves? And you have those things. Like everybody has the best man joke where it's like, yeah, the best man's trying to make the whole wedding about them type of thing.
Yeah. So what I'm noticing is there's this underlying theme of character. As we all understand, character matters. And so if you want to make something good, no matter what it is, it has to be the character.
Waking Ned Devine.
Right.
I just got it. That's it. Waking Ned Devine. That is a brilliant comedy movie.
Waking Ned Devine.
Yes, recommend that to anyone. Forget about the Inisherin bullshit movie.
Oh, I recognize Michael O'Sully or David Kelly. Man. Like, is that his name?
Michael O'Sullivan. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh man.
Yeah, he was in a ton of stuff. Okay.
Yep. Yep. Waking Ned Devine is just a fantastic comedy movie.
Alrighty. Cool. So that being said, we got a couple people here in the chat. We'll just say hi too quick. Got Karen, Owen, Silicon Dave, Papa Cotton, DJ Ronnie G, Fat Elvis, Mike XRL7, and David Glenn, and Fat Elvis, Black Saber. And I hope you guys are all doing well. Share this out there and let people know what's going on. Because at this point, I think we'll transition now into actually discussing the actual ad and all that kind of stuff. And so, again, so some of you guys would know, most of you probably know about the Dove soap commercial, where you have the girl who's nice and strong and fit as the video game character, and then she takes off the armor when she gets out of the game, and she becomes not so sleek and strong. And we're then informed that her life is great because she's not, and then she is supported by Dove soap. And so I think that summarizes it pretty good. What do you guys think?
Those are visual cues. Yep.
Yeah, Epic Games supporting real women in games, and that you can, you want to see yourself in a game, and it's about time. Stop being an avatar. And the first moment I saw that joke, and I think I might have been the first person to say it because I beat Tom Connor on Midnight's Edge. I said this was a very good ploy by Dove, showing women with extracurricular body extremities, because then they sell more soap.
Yep, I was in the same mindset, and I mentioned that joke the next day, or the next day, because I didn't hear yours.
Yeah, and my whole thought was when I first saw it was like, this is just a big insult to gamers. Like, you guys need
Yeah, but that's not a joke.
Yeah, that's not a joke. Actually, a joke that would reflect that is if Epic Games got rid of character creation, and instead the only way you could actually play is if you submitted a real-time photo of yourself, and then that's what locked your appearance in.
And it was by law.
And it was by law.
It was government sanctioned. But you notice how I described a woman with extra avoirdupois is a woman with a person with extracurricular
Curves.
body,
extended epididymis.
Yes. So the thing is, this is something too that is, I love words, and it's more fun having a descriptive, an extreme descriptive word for something as opposed to saying that she's fat. There's nothing. Paul Dana actually said this, and a long time ago, he was a comedian, and he said it's way funnier saying flaming flanken than beef on fire.
Yeah,
it's true.
Well, there's the alliteration, and then there's all the fact that you get to use dialogue that people would recognize, but don't actually use in the common lexicon.
Correct. And the thing is, when you speak of things literally in a literary way, you don't describe it the way you speak. So vernacular is not necessarily a good gateway to comedy. When you go through the forest, you don't go, oh yeah, look at if you're being told to, if you're going to describe it, you don't say, oh well, that's nice. You go, the sun shone through the dappled leaves as the colors spread across the crunchy surface beneath my footsteps. You would never talk that way, but you would write that way.
Mm-hmm.
So comedy should be treated the same way. Don't make it a guttural, real world response.
Part of comedy, one of the things I love about comedy is the fact that you can take the most dirtiest lowbrow stuff and present it in the most highbrow and elegant ways, and that contrast alone makes things rather humorous. It's actually one of the secret weapons that sitcom writers would use against censors whenever they would tell a dirty joke. Then the censors would say, we can't put that on television. They'd be like, well, luckily for us, we actually have a vocabulary, so we can work around that.
How that's where you get like the whole from.
Yeah, and Woody Allen was a great user of that. He has, one of his jokes was, I hit somebody in my car, and he told me to go forth and multiply, but not in those words.
Yeah. He has another brilliant one saying that his wife tried to sue him because she was accosted, says she was violated, and having known my wife, I knew it wasn't a moving violation.
But that's words can be made, words can be funny, which and George Carlin was brilliant at that.
Mm-hmm. Another that was brilliant too.
I just want to say we got Pro here, so hello, Pro.
Hi guys, I just wanted to stop by and see how things were going. I am eager to see what comes out of this. I think this is one of the coolest things I have heard of on YouTube is actually bringing in writers to walk through the science of comedy. I think it's fascinating because
the science of comedy.
Yeah, well, isn't that an oxymoron though? But we don't think about what it is that's humorous.
No, and thanks to you, Pro.
Hang in there, earthquake.
and thanks to you, Pro. Paul and I were very happy that the checks cleared, so that's why we're here.
Yes, exactly.
Because we don't do this for nothing.
I was just curious though, guys. While I'm in here, I just wanted to ask you though. Comedy is a very strange thing. Humor is a very strange thing, and I don't know how many other creatures on the planet do this. Isn't it odd that in a particular set of circumstances, we suddenly shift our breathing and we vocalize that breathing in such a way that is intended to give some kind of response to others. Hey, I like this, but I don't like it the way that I like lasagna. I like it in a different kind of way. This is peculiar and enjoyable. And isn't it weird?
Right.
Like, of all the things humans do, I mean, hiccups are weird, right? But but this is weird too. This this kind of thing that we all do, and it's cross cultural and it's embedded in us. Why do we do it, guys?
I would suggest that laughing and lasagna don't go together.
Well, especially not through
grapes?
your nose.
Grapes.
If you do laugh while eating lasagna, it just causes a chain reaction for other people to laugh before they eat the rest of the lasagna. That's for sure.
But guys, why do we do this? What I mean, just to get down to the brass tacks of what this is. Why do we laugh? What makes us laugh?
It's part of sanity. Actually, it keeps us sane to laugh.
What is
healthy? It's good for your endorphins.
Like,
yes.
So what are the parameters by which we begin to laugh? What makes something actually be funny?
Well, that's in the
mystery,
eyes of the beholder.
Yeah, that's the brilliance of comedy.
And yet we can rank order it. Otherwise, you guys wouldn't have jobs. But the way you well, and the writer's strike kind of.
The writer's strike. That reminds me. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. We're done. Pull the plug. But you know, there's a reason that some comedies rise above, right? There's a reason that the Monty Python stuff was transcendent. What is it that?
Except that wasn't popular in the United States.
That's a good point. And then
initially.
No. Even then, it's a very minor success in the United States. The United States has got 400 million people. That's what made it a success. Is that any small segment in the United States is going to be bigger than the entire country of Canada.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, Monty Python it's highly linked with culture.
Yeah, Monty Python was pretty successful in Canada because Canada has a deep connection to British humor and British history. The United States, I have traveled through the United States, and it would be one in a very few, one out of a large pool of people that actually have known or recognized Monty Python. You'd have to go directly to comedy savvy groups or towns to actually find people that actually really knew Monty Python or other sketch troops outside of the local area. That was always kind of fascinating to me because it was something that I grew up with a lot and family. But you mentioned comedy in the United States. They'll always, at least in my generation, they'd always bring up Saturday Night Live. They would bring up Upright Citizen Brigades. They'd bring up the Groundlings. They'd bring up a whole bunch of the local stuff, but not so much on the international side of things. And then even when I went overseas, I would see some of the other, I would see like Boom Chicago, which was a sketch troupe that was in Amsterdam, if that makes sense. You would see a bunch of comedy performers over in Britain's West End, which is their equivalent to Broadway. You'd see a couple of musical comedies in Salzburg, Austria. So yeah, there's a whole lot out there with all different genres, but most of them are just completely unrecognizable by people, in their continent, let alone their overseas. And Monty Python is one of the few that's in that case. But as the world gets a little bit smaller, some more people are able to stumble onto them and just in their general search of comedy and comedy history. I mean, I was one of the few people in my age group that actually watched Steve Allen and Jack Benny programs as a kid back in the day. And it wasn't readily available. My parents just happened to have access to some of those old episodes. And then brilliantly, as I got in my teenage years, we had the comedy channel premiere in Canada. And then they had a whole archive and they started rebroadcasting that. So then some of the various little clips and episodes that I would see as a toddler, I was now seeing the full version being broadcast over Canadian television. And it was amazing to see. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, Blackadder, I don't think was huge in the United States. The Dave Allen Show, which was brilliant. I don't think that was big in the United States.
No, Dr. Demento was huge in the U.S. I remember that a lot.
Yes, and the United States has got its history in Jewish stand-up, which I studied a lot, and I can talk to that if you want. But we need this premise that Steve brought us into doing.
Yeah, well, I didn't mean to sidetrack everybody, but
you did.
Yes, but I did have a minute, and it is fascinating to me that we all want to laugh. We want to make other people laugh, You know, that's when you gather together, what are you there for? Well, part of it is you want to laugh. And one of the great joys is hearing a little baby even laugh. And you don't really understand why the baby is laughing. But the baby likes it, and you like that the baby's laughing. And it's an amazing thing that we all want to do this. And perhaps subconsciously, unconsciously, we know what we're aiming for. But to articulate what it is that makes something funny, even for those who make funny things, is very difficult to come upon.
So I'll tell you one thing that's different between comedians and non-comedians is that we never talk like you.
Agreed. I will agree with that. The science of comedy ruins the comedy. Well, gentlemen, I just had a minute. I wanted to stop by, but I really do appreciate all this.
Appreciate that, bro.
And the opportunity to insult you was wonderful. We appreciate that.
I took it readily. Thank you, Paul. Later, all.
Awesome. Thanks, pro.
And karma strikes by losing Paul's earbud. Okay.
And the dog almost ate it.
That actually happened one time with when our.
Well, we're glad that's not a microphone, because then we'd be hearing the insides of the dog for the rest of the show.
It's like Jurassic Park 3, the cell phone and the Spinosaurus. Anyway, so the idea was this game. Now, is it better if I just run you guys through kind of the jokes and thoughts that I had initially? All right.
Sure.
So the way that I pictured it opening up would be kind of similar, where the character wins. And so what would happen is in Fortnite, I ended up getting one of those skins. It looks kind of like Wilton, but it's actually like some, I don't know, Japanese thing. But he's got like
you need to back up and tell your audience that you're a puppeteer and you're making puppets of all this stuff.
Okay, so I have this troll puppet named Wilton. And Wilton, if I turn off my camera, there you go. Let's see. That's Floral. Let's see. Add audio avatar. That's Wilton right there. Okay. All right. So Wilton the troll. Okay. So I found a Epic Games skin.
Wilton the troll.
Well, he actually talks like this. So
actually, he talks like this. I can do Wilton the troll.
He's got to have a fat tongue to talk
good.
like Wilton. No. And so anyway, so Wilton, I found a skin that kind of it's buff, obviously, because it's a Fortnite character, but he's got the horns, he's got the teeth coming out and all that kind of stuff. And I thought that's great. And so I finally, in a squad match, we beat out the last guys. I was actually knocked down, and so I was waiting for being revived, got up and used the whole like shining crown thing, whatever, and for the win. And I thought it would be great if Wilton gets out of like you get out of the game and you actually see that Wilton's lying in bed, and then he goes and turns off the bot, right? I think that could have idea, right? So you see that it's not actually him playing. Pro's initial idea would be that it could be like this unique game of The Legend of Velma, but I'm like, that might be a little bit hard for me to create on a PNG and green screen budget. But then Wilton looks at himself, looks at the character, kind of defeated in life, but also like that half celebrated because he's a troll. So does he really care? And then the idea was originally that we would have Sparrow Soap. That got shifted to Swallow Soap. And then Script said, what about Crow Soap? And so, I mean, there's a lot of jokes that obviously between all of those you can go with, because I thought initially with Swallow Soap, the final gag would be Wilton eats the soap, not knowing that he's supposed to actually use the soap because it's called Swallow Soap, and he just is like revolted. But at the same time, with Script and talking about Crow Soap, like eating crow and all that kind of stuff, that could also work. So there's a little bit of that. And because it's Wilton, it's a little bit harder, obviously, to convey all of the emotions and the physicality that an animated character would. He doesn't blink or anything like that. I mean, I can attach some fabric to his eyes to make him look like he's squinting. So there's a little bit of those kinds of things, but it becomes a little bit more complicated. So I visualized it being a little bit more audio or like words, dialogue centric. And so him just saying something to the effect of like, I'm not insulted that a gaming company would partner with a soap company, and squirts and rubs a little bit of a hand on his soap. And Pro's idea was that it'd make like that farting noise. In fact, I think it's actually brilliant marketing, tapping into an untouched demographic. And then why allow my natural method to permeate and soak into my surroundings when I could be a different man altogether? And then the other jokes or lines that I came up with, like clean up your game and your act from the inside out, kind of like cleaning your soul, and then shot of like cleaning a dirty foot or something. Swallow soap, get clean, and then he would eat it. And then, ugh, this stuff tastes like garbage. How's this going to change anyone's life for the better? Again, this is just quick writing it down. So if it sucks, that's okay. I'm not offended. Note that Wilton, he doesn't understand that you're supposed to wash the soap. And then I got the crow soap. And then it's like, and then I just made up a stat like they did. 85% of trolls feel underrepresented in gaming because they get muted, blocked, or banned. We've partnered with Surreal Motor and Trolls in Games to change this. So something like that little tagline. So anyway, so that's what I got is working from there.
So the first thing on there's something called Don't Gild the Lily. And that is, you've got all these puppets that could represent every single character from the Dove ad originally. My first thought, if you're doing a parody, is that you almost do it word for word, but with your troll. Okay? That's funny. That play the game, have him buff, and then he takes off the buffness or however you do it, and he's just the troll. And I'm so disappointed that I can't play myself on this. And that's funny. You don't have to do anything more than we're clearly making fun of the individual. And then those other lines at the very end of trolls for gamers, and that's hilarious. And 95% of 70% of trolls are underrepresented in games. I mean, actually you could say are overrepresented in games.
Well, here's the other go ahead, Paul.
So I'm saying that would be my first thought, is to hone close to the actual ad. And Dove you would leave it as Dove soap. You would leave it, and then he eats it. He says, "I've eaten Doves before, but they never tasted like this." Anyway, so that's my first thought, is that you've got tons of comedy just replaying the ad with your puppets.
My building onto that would be, well, what's the initial premise in the initial game is that the hero is beautiful, attractive, and is fighting the monster, and in the end they take off the stuff and now they're this unattractive thing. You could do the same thing. It's basically like the troll is trying to fantasize that they are something that a troll would eat, like a little child, and the little child is playing in Fortnite, and then he looks in the mirror and he wishes he was that child, but he's not, even though he talks like a child. And that's kind of the parallel you can when it comes to eating.
Okay. We're looking at it reversed.
Yes.
That the troll is always the enemy. So the person they're fighting is a normal person in Fortnite. That, those of us who are being constantly attacked and defeated, it's not fair. We have lives too outside of this game. I mean, anyway, so
like how does when Wilton interacts with the real world, people would be frightened and revolted by him, and all he wants to do is be accepted for who he is. Kind of like how some people superficially are frightened and revolted by large, obese, rude, and argumentative women. It's like they just want to avoid them. That's the angle that you can play in. And if you wanted to do the eating soap stuff, I would probably end it, and I put it in the private chat, with a text slogan, which is, "Want to save on toilet paper, swallow soap."
Yep.
Because it comes out clean. It cleans you as it comes out.
You could even get a trans troll gag in there.
Mm-hmm. So someone that wants to transition from being a troll to a human?
Yes. So he's transhuman. And there's people who are against that whole concept. So there's lots of things that you can do with that.
Yeah,
So
like one
it's
of
a
the
good thing to premise. Good thing
yeah,
to
one of the
parody.
themes of that particular commercial is that sometimes reality is ugly. And they're trying to say, because it's, even if it's ugly, you can still keep yourself clean or whatever. I'm like, that's weird, weird type of messaging or weird type of framing to have a message inferred from. But that is something that you could play with. Because again, it's all about, they're trying to say, you have to accept yourself for what you look like and not pose as something that you're not in a game. When the exact opposite is why we like games. We like being able to customize and create our own characters. And it's an outlet for us. And now they're restricting that with this.
But that's the reality. The ad basically accused game companies of not letting women be themselves.
Yeah.
That's really politically what you need to make fun of, because that's bullshit.
Yeah.
That's,
so then
that's
the other part
core.
too is the game community saying not all saying only all trolls are evil, and you saying, well, not all trolls are evil.
Correct. We're misunderstood. Just because we eat young children, people crap on us.
We should be revered. We've learned the alchemy of turning bones into bread.
That's right. And,
oh wait,
and
that's
what's
giant.
wrong?
Sorry.
And what's wrong with troll reading day at libraries?
Troll lives matter. Yeah.
Troll lives matter. So then you can go. Then the other option is to do what we were just suggesting, is you just go for every single a woke trope that you can possibly go after. Just pack it.
Trolls. We hate Karens too. You know, that type of thing.
Well, the picture thing I
Krakens.
As you're saying is as Wilton's walking by the park and there's the sign that says "Don't feed the trolls," and he just kind of like looks up, looks down, sad. It just keeps walking.
Yeah, that's great.
that's and you could bring up a whole bunch of Twitter things that say trolls suck and trolls are assholes. Trolls, look at the life I lead. Try to walk in my clawed feet. Get some sympathy for him.
Trolls being evicted from their bridges that they live under.
Well, so one of the jokes that I want to do at some point is where Wilton comes out from under a bridge and starts singing "Whose bridge has your troll been under?" And I think that would be beautiful.
and someone slaps on a big sign, "New condo to appear to be coming here."
Yeah, like bridges condemned.
The gentrification of bridges.
Yeah.
So okay,
that's right.
So there's a lot of little gags in there.
Do you ever see us? Go through a Target store and looting it? No.
Or do you?
Troll.
So yeah,
we invented the toll, took the R out, and passed the savings on to you. Troll. That's a little parody of a joke that another colleague of mine has done recently. I just thought I'd throw it in there.
Well, no, it's important to steal jokes.
That's one of the things I was gonna say is one of my kind of philosophies, just when I'm just in creating in general, is you're supposed to steal people's stuff, don't borrow, and don't copy it, right? You want to make it your own, right? So you make sure you own that thing. So you steal it, you shape it, you mold it, adapt it to your scenario,
or you just don't use it,
or just don't use it.
I came up with a joke that someone else then started using. I mean, it's one of those things where great minds think alike. Early on in the Frantics, when Viagra came out and they had, tell your, if your erection lasts more than 4 hours, tell your doctor. My joke was, if my erection lasts more than 4 hours, I'm telling everyone. But then I saw someone on television use it, and we took it out of our act.
Touche.
Go big or go home.
Hey, it's valid.
Not a hard decision, Paul.
So in the practical creation side of this,
a long and short of it.
So we picture Wilton. He's just so I can kind of recap in myself. Wilton, he gets that final kill in Fortnite, takes off the armor, and he's just disappointed. Wilton. Right? He's just, or is he disappointed, or is he just kind of like, this is life? But
no, he's disappointed. If you're going to go with the ad, he's disappointed that he isn't in the game.
He has to. Yeah, he
he's-
can't be in the game.
Yeah, he can't be in the game. His real troll self can't be in the game.
Okay, and so then he steps away from the thing, takes off his armor, because I have that cardboard armor that I put on.
Nice,
him. And
nice.
so I could
See,
take.
that's funny.
Yeah.
That's a great touch.
So he could take off the cardboard armor. I did finally get an axe, actually. So so he does have an axe.
Are you telling me there's a murderer somewhere in your area that is without their weapon? That's just disappointed. It's like, how am I going to get people now?
Exactly. Gank it from the murder. So he leaves the game. He's disappointed, and now he's evaluating everything. And where does he go from there? Because we made like a bunch of gags from there, because she's now looking at herself in the mirror and all that kind of stuff. Is Wilton looking at himself in the mirror? And
yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because she takes off the armor and then she starts to use the baby wipes to remove her makeup.
I got a baby, so I got baby wipes. I can easily throw that in. Or is there like another gag in there where he could be putting something on?
So that's a good point. So now we're talking about the core of group comedy brainstorming. Is we've now come at an impasse. There's an opportunity for a gag here. What is it?
Mhm.
So what is he doing? Wiping blood from his face,
Or
like his
applying
mouth,
blood to his face.
or applying blood, but that's not necessarily evident in a puppet.
Yeah, it could stay in the puppet long term. We don't want.
I mean, he could if he got the baby wipe thing, pulls it out of the container and goes,
Yeah.
just a pause, pulls out the wipe that's in the ad.
It looks like he's gonna clean his mouth,
Yeah.
but he just stuffs it in there and just eats it.
Eats it. Oh, I love baby wipes.
All right. Okay. And then because she looks at herself, she evaluates.
Yeah, I didn't get that baby wipe thing. I thought that was stupid. But anyway, let's make fun of it.
Well, actually, baby wipes actually remove makeup better than most makeup removers, and they're cheaper and more in bulk.
Oh yes.
So
I remember being baby wiped many times in my earlier career for horror makeup and stuff.
So there you
They
go.
never wiped the parts I wanted, always the face.
It was they used Pond's on me a lot.
Pawns?
Cold cream.
Oh yeah, yeah. I
Oh,
remember.
okay.
God.
So then, would it be helpful if we actually even pull up that ad so we can kind of track with it?
Sure.
Sure.
Okay. I will do that right now.
Yeah, I don't want to hear it. We can just go for stills, just like zip to a frame.
Oh, absolutely.
I have no interest in watching that thing again. It's kind of disappeared too.
It really has, and that's where I'm like, if this evolved into something else, it's already out of the cultural zeitgeist. So
Yeah, which kind of stops it from being a parody-ish. But we're talking about how comedy is executed, and so it's not a bad exercise.
yeah, no, exactly, because it still is somewhat familiar to the audience. Share screen here, and here we go. Make that. Well, go full screen. What is going on here? Oh, is it going full for you guys? Okay.
Yeah,
There we
fine
go.
for us.
No, I was looking. It's because anyway, Chrome. Okay, so we're past here.
Now, one thing that irked me, and I just want to bring that back, is that for whatever reason, the enemy that she defeated wasn't decimated in the game. It was went to a 3D room, and then I guess the dude in the outfit got up and went, well, that's weird.
Yeah, he gave like a thumbs up.
Yeah, I'm not hurt, everyone. I'm okay. I don't know whether that's worth parodying, but I'm just putting that forward to the dais here. That I thought that was stupid.
I thought it was dumb too, but I just don't know how I'd recreate that with the ending of a Fortnite match when that guy's
Okay, fun.
knocked out.
Yeah,
Okay,
that'd be trickier. Unless you went to the puppets where they're both in the role, and then Wilton asks, "Hey, are you okay?" And there's just no response. And then he's like, "I genuinely worried that he might have actually killed this guy." And then he just kind of walks away slowly.
Or
Yeah.
Wilton goes, "Are you okay?" And they go, Yeah. So Wilton then hits him again with the axe and kills him.
Yeah.
That's it.
And
I'm
then
done.
you just have in
Anyways,
the background saying full points, or something.
yes.
Or that
That's
extra
right.
like gold counter or something.
Something like that. Yeah. Just
Anyways,
things in
that's a gamer observation. I'm not necessarily certain that's sort of like inside baseball. I'm not certain that would be a popular joke, but I'm just putting it out there as something that irritated me. And
no, and I would say that's valid. Because yeah,
Anyway,
it was
there it
because
is.
that's the scene here, right? And so he's just
And-
like, I got you.
And what games are within a 3D unless she's wearing goggles, which she wasn't. Like
I think
anyway,
it's
so
supposed to
many things.
anthropomorphize the QuickTime event that you get in video games. The QuickTime events where
Cutscenes?
it's already like you just press the buttons to play to the next clip of them doing their final
Okay.
thing. Maybe
Like a
I never
cutscene?
understood that type of stuff. Yeah, like
Okay.
a cutscene thing.
Okay, keep going.
All right, so she's looking in the mirror.
Oh, you know what? Hold on. Go back. There's some opportunities here. This is a comedy 101. Just go back a bit where she sees game titles on the wall.
Oh
Okay,
yeah,
this is a function. So okay, this is comedy 101. This is cheap comedy. You have each one of your trolls in its own game, like suck my BioWare. I mean, and these would be Easter eggs, that show your gaming credentials. You as a comedian, I would have this. I'd copy this and
yeah. You'd have like the bridge, the cave, the castle, like various things that trolls would be found in.
And you'd have parody names, Call of Booty, or
yeah,
or a bridge too far.
Yeah, this is an opportunity. So this is a part of comedy where you do not leave any stone unturned. Like every corner of this thing is funny. You learn that from Monty Python, because when I saw the funny credits, I went, holy shit, there's like nothing they don't attack.
Yeah.
Right. So here you'd have your trolls in their own games, and you come up with your own funny titles, but based on, what is the stupid game that they're trying to be in? God damn it.
Is it Fortnite?
Fortnite, yes. Yeah. Like Crap Night, whatever it happens to be. So anyway, let's move on. But I'm just suggesting, we won't come up with here, but you need to get this.
Yeah, no, and that's the thing. Like, we don't need to hit every single detail, but yeah. All right, so she's looking in the mirror, super proud of herself, and then ultimately
takes off the cardboard.
Takes it off. Yeah. So I'll just play through this, right? That obviously this is easy to kind of replicate.
Obviously, that was a Dove product.
Yes. Yeah. Right, and so and obviously that's all easy to recreate. And that's the thing.
The chair collapses.
Yeah, and you see in the photo in the background, it's the dragon and her smiling. So you do something similar like that with Wilton and his adversary.
Okay.
Like maybe he's holding his severed head or something of that nature, where if you're going into the angle of him only defeating the bad guy.
Yeah, this is an ad done by women. You can tell because they just can't bring themselves to having defeated the dragon and leaving a bloody corpse. Gotta be friends with it. We're going out for some white wine spritzers later on with the dragon.
All right, and then she looks in the mirror a lot.
Yeah, she does.
Well, yes. Narcissistic people do that and think it's normal.
That's right.
Every time I look in the mirror, I forget it's there and think it's another person and jump.
If it's same with me, because I put red rum on my mirror a long time ago, and I should have taken it off.
I put on my mirror because I was dealing with depression. I am drop dead sexy gorgeous, and it made a lot of people really weirded out. Okay, so and then I have like this like PNG of comics division. Should I just put that there? Like Wilton just like looking over.
I don't know what that is, but you've got me.
From Friday Night Tights. You talked to him when you were on that.
Oh, okay, yeah, but
The one they always made short jokes about. Clearly not a good joke because not easily referenced.
no,
All right.
that's
No,
a
that's
good point.
some inside baseball for that.
It's inside baseball.
All right.
And
So
then
then
she's gonna she picks her, yeah.
Wilton can
Then they
re-gear
go
up.
Re-gear up, going outside into the world and
So here,
being
okay.
frightening.
So what's the quote here? What's our percentage here?
74% of girls feel underrepresented in video games. So what I had written was
I thought that was pretty funny what you had written.
85% of trolls feel, you changed it to overrepresented. I said underrepresented in games because they're muted, blocked, or banned. We've partnered with Surreal Motor and Trolls in Games to change this, which because obviously it's just changing the Epic era Unreal Engine, right? So to Surreal Motor.
Right. Well, you should use their competitor, Unity. We've partnered up with Unity, unless that's another game engine that I don't know. Anyway, that's again is 99% of the audience for this ad do not know who Unreal Engine is, what Unreal Engine is.
It's true.
So
and then there's the next slide.
But hold on. Okay. So from a comedy perspective,
yeah,
we'd be going through the percent that line. Oh, we went back to Unreal Engine. Go back to the 74%. Yeah, let's go back. I mean,
instead of using Unreal, it should just say a real motor, because Unreal is you want to go like a little bit the opposite, right? Because we're going in parody. So Unreal is Unreal, so the opposite would just be real, or like reality motor or something of that nature. Or instead of it being an engine, what's the opposite of an engine? A block. So a reality block. Like it doesn't move. So
one alternative to this is 74% of trolls are tired of being the enemy in video games,
or tired of being feared. Yeah,
you're tired of being feared. So here you'd come up with 10. I'm not saying that we're replacing it, but our role as comedians, this thing here is a word joke. So you just brainstorm the living shit out of this. And come up with as many as you can without criticizing them. I just wanted to get you and the audience out there into the process of.
No, that's the whole point of this. So thank you, Paul. For
74% of trolls feel overrepresented and feared in video games.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then. And then
from a parody point of view, you'd use the same percentage and not change that. That's a small thing, but anyways, okay, let's keep going.
No, and that's fair. So just change it right to
here. We've partnered with Unreal Engine Women in Games to change this. So,
and that's where I like
we've partnered with a video game company that uses loot boxes to cheat you out of your cash to present a completely irrelevant ad.
So it'd be like we partnered with Arrested Reality, because that would be the opposite of an Unreal Engine. And Trolls in Games to change this, type of thing.
And with the NGO boys are stupid yucky.
Does it have another one? Oh no, it goes back into the
here, and then
that's the thing. Like, what does she even do there? And that's what
she just shoots them with an energy
blast.
Oh, okay.
She fires an energy blast with a sword. Not that we haven't seen that before.
Yeah, Link did that back in the day. That was cool.
So what if Wilton just farts? Is that just like too on the nose, or is that just
troll bad breath would be more in line with the characters of trolls, right? So he could just poison breath troll him or belch, because how often do trolls show their back to their enemies, right?
Depends on what you're watching.
What kind of weapon would Wilton have?
I think a
in
club, right?
well, I got
a club. Yeah.
well, so I
Axe,
got the
battle axe.
axe. I got the just like your plastic axe. I got rifle. I got a pistol. I got a bunch of different kinds of swords. Um, I don't have any actual like. I was in the process of making a club, but
Can you find
No.
yourself a chicken leg? Cook it, deep fry it, or drumstick or something from
well,
like
because I got the
KFC.
chicken wing song, and so there is one of my kids probably does have that chicken wing left.
Mm.
So it's just like that little plastic one from like those little food toy
Well,
set things.
the other thing too is, I mean, Wilton just takes the axe and it's relentless pummeling past the point, like the timing of it would be overdone. Like 15 seconds of da, da, ah, ah,
Yeah.
ah.
Yeah, like frame it
And
like American Psycho and Christian Bale's
Yes.
going at Jared Leto type of thing.
that's
or
right.
or Peter when he's got the whole like because he got hit in the knee.
and so what Script is saying there, you pull out a recognizable movie frame, and then I like the idea that you go with American Psycho. That's kind of neat. Anyway, but you can dispense with the creature, and I mean, and you know what? It'd be what kind of stupid creatures? Like if a friendly looking big chicken. I mean, something
that's not
friendly.
threatening at all.
Correct.
Like grab one of my girls like stuffed unicorns or something.
Yes.
Yeah, like or Raggedy Ann doll or something.
Yeah. See, we would cheer for that.
It's true. Okay, so
trolls can win video games too sometimes,
Like throw a knitted doll into have Wilton throw a knitted doll into the dryer, just turn it on maximum and have it tumbling around and just have like tempered screams on the inside. It's so hot. I'm hitting my head. Like those types of things.
I'm melting.
Don't use a dryer sheet.
The static is unbearable.
And then at the end of it, Wilton can then eat the dryer teat and be like, the taste of victory. That type of like the
So there you go. There's some brilliant comedy there.
There is. And so with that being said, I mean, we spent an hour talking about this. We worked through the entire commercial. We talked a bunch about the practical moments, and even saw how throughout the conversation there was really no bad ideas. It was just how can we shift it and adapt it. And in the brainstorming, that is always important, is you just get it out there, and if it lives, it lives. If it dies, it can be revived for another purpose at some point. And
Good
so
points.
I really appreciate you guys spending the time with me doing this. And so the plan for the chat, so you guys all know, is over the next week or so, I'll be actually making this and recreating what we've discussed here. And then I'll actually try to show the process of making that video, everything that went into it. And finally the final result, which will for sure be aired on Pro's channel. So that being said, Paul, Script, where can people find you, and what do you want them to know?
We'll get this awful dove picture off this.
Okay, sure. That's probably a good idea. Do you want me to make you big?
No.
All right, go for it.
Okay. You can find me on Call Me Chato. There you go. Call Me Chato, right there.
And you've been getting quite the significant pushes with Drinker and Friday Night Tights, and
it's been fun working with them. Nice,
everyone wants
nice,
that
clever
old man
people.
strength, eh?
The what?
The old man strength.
I'm happy to take it. I'm not going to feel guilty. I get lots of comments on my YouTube channel. You're the oldest person I watch on YouTube. Okay. Thanks.
Which actually just means you're competent. That's all that means.
I have found in my I have done comedy sketch workshops. I haven't done recently. Well, pre-COVID, I did them, and I find that the young teens are really uncomfortable with a person of my age acting stupid. They don't like it. They
No.
fight, I'll do my bacon bit where I just flopped on the ground and went cooking bacon, and they're just staring at me and they're going, "This is embarrassing. Old people shouldn't be doing this."
Or are they just
I don't
concerned
know
they're
what
going to get hurt?
Kidding. The best
But
part about getting old is being embarrassing to the younger people. That's
I
the
know.
thrill.
Yeah.
I know. So like, what's funny is
That's
like,
what you
in
do.
connection with that, like I've even told students, like when church, you have like that old pastor come in who's like they should be dead, like and they're not relevant to the younger generation or whatever, and they bust out the old hymns in the middle of their sermon, and all the kids are like, "What is going on? Like this is so weird and foreign to me." And then what changes though is whoever that pastor is, if they open up and they say, "Hey, some of you guys are going to feel awkward, and that's okay." Immediately you diffuse the situation and everyone relaxes and they can actually enjoy the moment. But if you don't allow for that, it gets crazy. But sorry. Anyway,
That's right.
Yeah, well, that's because you're having them enjoy the moment where Paul and myself would rather have them be awkward and
Yes.
uncomfortable.
context matters, but
That's
Yes,
right.
you want that part because that's how you break through shells a lot faster as opposed to just getting the permission to it.
See, if the pastor went up and said, and the priest said, a bottle of Coke and a bag of chips. See, that would get them going if they knew that the punchline of a very rude joke.
fair enough. And I don't know it, and I probably shouldn't. So
No.
Script, where can we find you? What do you want us to know?
You can find me on Twitter at ScriptDoctorPhD, on YouTube at youtube.com/ScriptDoctor. And I also have a Patreon where if you sign up, you can read some of my musings. I do discuss topics of this nature, mostly character development, story, plotting, various reviews, exclusive videos up there as well. And if that's something that interests you, I'd love to see you comment on the channel or subscribe to the Patreon. It'd be great.
And if you need your script written and you're willing to pay for it, then Script Doctor, I think, will do it. I won't read scripts. People keep sending me stuff and I keep sending them Script Doctor's way, but I said, no, but you're going to pay for the service.
Yeah,
fair enough.
And it's been a lot of fun. The last few weeks, I've had a number of people send me their works. I've been
that might have been through me.
Yes, two have actually been.
Are you
through
looking for kickbacks, Paul? Is that why you're bringing this
Nope.
up right now?
Nope, he doesn't need it. But there's been a lot of great people with a lot of very. It's actually like really great ideas. Some of them a little behind the nature, but the potential's there. The enthusiasm, which is the most important thing you need on the page, is there. And it's like those are the two great starting points to have. And it's been a joy, working with them and helping them get to their full potential. And the results have been phenomenal. So I'm glad with everybody coming my way for that.
And another thing about comedy, you noticed I've interrupted Script several times to get a joke in. That's important. The other thing too is because the joke is the most important thing, not 100%. Human kindness. 100%. You are doing everything in the service of the joke.
Exactly.
The other thing too is, as a comedian, you want to make things uncomfortable for people. So, for instance, you told me you're a pastor, so I actually have a joke which I want to tell. So, anyways, you might have heard this already. The teacher tells the kids, it's an Easter class and it's Easter time, and so it tells the class to go out and draw a picture of Jesus and the usual Easter thing. And Billy comes back and has this picture of Jesus on the cross, nailed on the cross in Calvary, and with this title, with a slogan at the bottom said, "For the best nails, use Thompson nails." And the teacher went, "That is the most disgusting, awful thing I've ever seen, Billy. You go home and change this picture, and I do not want to see, Jesus on the cross." So he comes back the next day with a picture, and there's Calvary, and there's all these empty crosses, and it's just beautifully done. And the slogan is, "Should have used Thompson nails."
I love it. I love that.
See, but that's that's actually one of the motivations of a comedian, is to step into the jaws of the lion.
Oh yeah. No, I get it. I don't disagree. But anyway, that being
thank you
said,
for having us.
Thank you
Yes.
so very, very, very much. I'm excited for this and where it's going to go. And as usual, guys, have a great rest of your day and stay out of trouble. Don't join gangs and don't let anybody take you.
Thanks for having us. Bye.